Welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host Tina. As always, how are you doing, Tina?
It's been a day, Rob. It has been a day.
Yeah, you know it's funny. It's been days,
right?
Plural.
Seems like it's been like months of this crap. I don't know.
It's a very big roller coaster ride, and I think with the weather being the way it is, you know, the heat brings out the shit in people. Seriously, right? Like it actually, I was talking to a police friend of mine, and like it literally, it's the worst parts of the year because people get angry, and if they don't have air and a bunch, that's why Chicago, like people get shot in Chicago all the fucking time. But summer months, way worse. It just makes people angry. You're like, you know, you're in this heat for hours and hours and hours at a time. And the last thing you want to do is have some guy snap on you or some shit. So I think that's part of it, the heat. And then obviously just the rest of the crap that's going on in the world. It's kind of a bizarre thing, you know. Me and you both are kind of like, stay away from the news.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, I go to a search engine and it brings up at least, you know, some of the headlines.
I get you. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Gosh, Rob, we are both in literacy today.
Yeah, I'm yawning a lot. But yeah, so it's one of those things where like you almost can't stay away from some of it. You just gotta like, and it's crazy. Like I saw something today. The interest rate just went up again. So like it's up to like 7%. It's really? we're you know, fucking A, man. You know, we're in borderline recession right now. You know, inflation's out of fucking control. Gas, you know, you told me just a second ago you were paying over $6.40 a gallon.
$6.49 I paid yesterday for gas.
That's just fucking absurd. Like, you know, and again, we can throw our politicians under the bus all we want and say that, you know, the orange guy was bad and, you know, he had a lot of tweets, but fucking A, man, gas was $2.50 or, you know, $3 a gallon. You know, we weren't worried about food. Like I just heard that there's a tampon shortage.
Along with the baby formula shortage.
Yeah. But I mean, so
what, tampons though? When did that start? Makes me happy I don't have to deal with that.
I think I read about it last week. But I mean, think about that. Like, what are we going to do? We're going to go like old school, like wrapping up rags. Like, you know, that's what they did in the old school days, man. You know what I mean? Like wearing, you know, special undies. We're in a weird spot, dude. I never in my life would have thought you couldn't get baby formula.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't
understand what it's from though. Like, it seems to me like this, it's all bullshit. Like, what are you feeding us? Like, tell us the truth. What's really going on?
So supposedly, and again, I'm going by little small things I read. I guess the FDA didn't do inspections on a bunch of places that make baby formula, so they closed them because they couldn't pass the inspections. But it's funny, you know, they're making that shit now, and I doubt they went through the rigorous inspections either. So the current people in office knew about it. Like they knew this shit was coming and didn't say anything. So I think we're, you know, again, whatever your political views are, we're being ran into the ground. We're giving $40 billion to somebody, but we can't get fucking baby formula for our own people.
I was under the impression they worked for us as a people, not worked against us as a people. And I'm not even political. Like, you guys could say whatever I really run from political conversations. I ran from you for Like, for any sort of political, I'm like, can we not talk about that? I don't want it. But man, like, I don't care where you come from. Are you Republican? Are you Democrat? Are you this, that? I don't give a shit. We should have baby formula. There should be tampons, and we should be able to drive in California. We live in a world where it is such that these excuses aren't working for me.
For sure. I mean, just think, like, I don't know how far you drive every day, but I drive about 25 miles each way. So that's about a gallon of gas so 2 gallons of gas every day. So I think I'm spending every 2 weeks like $385 to $400
on gas.
So on gas, just fuel. Not food, not rent, not all this shit. It's like I don't understand how some people are surviving. I'm just lucky. I'm doing all right. I'm getting by. I'm not missing any meals, but there's a lot of people out there going to be struggling really quickly, and there's no answer for it. But again, we can spend $40 billion and send it to the Ukraine for, guess what? Guns.
For guns that we're supposed to be controlling. Yeah.
Well, I mean, these people want to control our guns, but they want to buy them for someone else to give them to citizens to fight. And they're like, I had a friend of mine go,
against the government, right? It's against the government. Yeah.
They're like, but it's a war. I'm like, yeah, you moron. Why do you think we have guns? We have guns because we want to make sure that this stupid government that we have we don't become subjects. That's, and they're doing the stupid hearing on January 6th, the riot. I guess they're doing this special hearing on Capitol Hill. It's costing.
And they got that on the news. They're televising it. I saw my dad watching it the other day. I was like, "Are you kidding? This is like paint drying."
Do you know what that's costing us? Millions of dollars. Us,
of course,
because we're paying for it. So think about that. Our tax money is going to now. Whatever your view is, like, I don't believe it was an insurrection. I think that's just absolutely asinine. Was it a riot? Yes, but they found footage of the guards letting people in, literally letting them in, or watching them tear shit down without calling for backup. It wasn't an insurrection. If it was an insurrection, they would have took guns and they would have killed everyone. But they didn't. They were making a statement that, look, the people run this country. The politicians should be scared of the people, not the other way around. The people should never be scared of this government ever. The government should be scared that we're going to tar and feather their ass and kick them to the curb like the old school people did. So I don't know. I think it's a very bizarre thing. You open up any browser right now and the headlines are, guns, food, gasoline, and then it's funny because they still throw in, like, as bad as the world is. And look, we definitely have things to try to keep us, not looking another way, but looking for some kind of pleasure in life, like pop culture, movies are still going, sports are still going. And
the Johnny Depp trial was going until a few days ago.
Yeah.
That was entertaining.
It was, man. She sure shit the bed, right?
And again, she looks so guilty. And I wanted to believe her. There was no stinking way. Not one thing out of her mouth seemed like it was the truth.
She's batshit crazy. She's bananas as fuck.
How's that for an ex?
Yeah, look, I try to do my best to see both sides of everything. The stories that came out about her and some of the witnesses that she had, and just that bitch is bananas, man. Crazy bananas. So it's pretty crazy. So, But yeah, like, so it just goes to show you, like, look, we as Americans, or people in general, you know, we try to find some kind of solace in other things like pop culture, movies. I don't know if you've seen it, but I went and saw the new Top Gun.
That was an amazing movie. I was so impressed by it. It was better. I thought it was better than the first one. I don't know how that is.
It was different than the first one. You know, definitely, you know, spoiler free review, you know, if you haven't seen it. It's super pro America. You know, it was like they did enough about the old movie to, like, you know, it was very nice homage to it. I loved it. I thought it was so good, and like there's a lot of good teary-eyed moments in it, but there's like super, you know, uplifting, and then just the scenes alone of them flying, which were 100%, they were 100% real.
Right.
So all of the shots of the actors that looked like they were flying were really in the airplane doing that shit. And
that's crazy.
It's, dude, crazy. Like, if for your body to pull a G or 2 Gs, like, you could do that on a roller coaster. Some roller coasters in a corner, you might pull a G. They were pulling 5 or 6. Like, they literally, what it did to their body, it's pretty gnarly. It was cool. I thought it was a great film. So I would say it's definitely at least a 4 out of 5 star movie.
You know, it's funny because I always look on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know when that started, but years ago. And Rotten Tomatoes had it at a 97%, but then the viewers had it at a 99. I've never seen numbers that high.
Yeah, that's pretty good. There's a couple of Marvel movies. There's a couple of Marvel movies that have both sides in the 90s. But yeah, because I think they did really well at you know, being nice to the first one. There were so many, it was well written, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Somebody was like, hey, how can we paste these 2 movies together and not make it feel, you know, utterly, you know, just like we're going to do another one and make it the same? Because I don't think they did that. I think they did a good job.
They did. I've seen other movies too. We saw the Doctor Strange.
I saw that. That was pretty good.
I thought that was pretty good. And then what was the other one that came? Jurassic Park. I went and saw that too.
I haven't seen that. I've heard some bad things about that one. It was a little. It was a little hokey.
It was like 2.5 hours long, first of all.
But it was a little hokey, I heard. Like, there were some parts in it where you're just like, come on.
But wasn't all of Jurassic Park, I thought, a little bit hokey? They were all a little bit hokey. But
yeah, but I heard there's a part where the girl outruns a dinosaur. Like, outruns it. I was like,
oh, come on. You should be used to that. You used to watch Land of the Lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always outran the dinosaurs.
You know, like you can't outrun a dog, nevertheless a dinosaur. Like, I don't know.
It's a movie. But anyway, yes, I was entertained for the 2.5 hours it was. It was not a bad movie. And they've had so many. I'm like, how many more can you do?
That was it from what I understand. I heard that one kind of closes out the... Again, I haven't seen it yet, but they're pretty much saying that that's going to be the last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, you know, at least we have pulp culture to keep us from, you know, jumping in front of cars or you know, doing anything other than that.
Speaking of that, I saw somebody get hit by a car the other day. It was yesterday. So
like
this
live?
Guy, yes. This guy he's on his bike in the street, and a van, like a minivan type with one guy in it, ran into him, and it for me, okay, so I saw the person flying. I didn't see the actual like hit because there was a little wall in front of me, so I couldn't. But I heard the hit, which for the life of me, I'm never going to forget that sound, first of all. And then the person was like screaming in pain, and he got up and he's hobbling over, and the driver's trying to help him hobble over to the curb, and he's screaming, ah! I couldn't wait to get out of there. I didn't see the crash, so I didn't stay, because I would have stayed. Band-Aid. I've done that before. But I couldn't listen to his agonizing just wailing that he was doing. I felt so bad, but there was nothing I could do. Before I even got out of the parking lot, the police officers had already showed up, and they were already dealing with the situation. And man, it threw my stomach into some sort of, I don't even know, but I was sick after that. And what's weird is my brother, about a month ago, said he saw somebody in Glendale get hit by a car. And then my dad, down the street from where I live, saw somebody get hit by a car too. But that kid was trying to kill himself and ran out into the street. So we've lived on a busy street for, well, I don't know. Forever. And in the last couple of months, maybe even a month, all three of us have seen somebody get hit by a car, and all in different places. So that's kind of a weird thing.
That's bananas.
In front of a car. Yeah.
You know, that street that you live on has always been shady. Like when I lived on it, on the corner over there off of Havenhurst, that because people used to try to catch that light to get on the 118 on San Fernando Mission. Going up Havenhurst past San Fernando Mission to get on the 118 right there. People would always try to make that light. We had accidents on that corner all the time. All the time. I saw
on our corner too, but I don't know what they're running from. They just haul ass down the street.
Yeah, but I think, you know, you're going, like if you're going up, what's that cross street right there? San Fernando Mission and what?
The main one would be like, there's Woodley, there's
Woodley.
Gothic,
that's
there's
where,
Gaynor.
No, not Gothic, but Woodley. So I think Woodley, you get people coming off the freeway going up towards Rinaldi, or you got people going up Rinaldi to maybe hit the 405. Yeah. You know, going north. So you're always hitting some kind of you know, some kind of weird traffic over there.
Yeah. It's been kind of crazy.
It's you know, it's always kind of crazy, which is like kind of bizarre to me. Like, but I just saw something on, I want to say a website, I think. Some woman in LA, she was going down her, like a back alley by her house, and some guy was driving down the street. She had a baby with her, and fucking guy ran her down, her and her baby. Both lived. If you can believe this, the guy was underage. They didn't even charge him with attempted murder.
What?
He literally ran them down.
How did?
Yeah.
Was he trying to do that, or was he not paying attention?
Well, by the video, because they had it on video. Oh. By the video, he didn't slow down, and then he tried to drive off, and some guy in a truck had to fucking hit him.
No.
Some other guy in a truck that was driving the same, you know, like head on with him, fucking hit him.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, fuck, man. Like, just very bizarre to me. Like, and I don't think that it's a breakdown of society. I think society's always been a little bonkers. And like, I like we talked about on many other shows, I think the 24-hour news cycle just brings all this to the surface. Like all this shit was happening before. Like I remember someone going like, you're going to let your child walk to school? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, aren't you afraid he's going to get kidnapped? I was like, no, they were kidnapping us when we were kids. It just wasn't on the news.
Right? Or remember when we used to get the flashers, like the guys that would like expose themselves as you're leaving like a block away from school and you're walking home and everybody gets like flashed? I mean, that used to happen all the time.
Thankfully, I never saw that. Thank God.
I never got flashed,
yes,
I friends.
I had heard about it as well. But I mean, it just goes to show you, like this shit is. I bet you, and again, I'd have to look at statistics and actually see it, like real crime statistics. But I bet you the number of children kidnapped today and the number of children kidnapped in 1975 is damn close. People,
you think so? Because now, like, I don't remember drug trafficking and all that stuff being such a. Of course, I know it had to have always existed, but you don't think it's worse now?
Mm-mm. No, I bet you. I mean, maybe. Maybe some kind of human trafficking probably is a little bit. I think maybe with social media, you're getting more pedophiles because it's easier, I think, to fish people or easier to talk to them where you don't really have to have, you're starting online. So it's a little easier. But I think like real kidnappings where people are like walking down the street and someone just snatches somebody, I bet you the statistics are close, and
I have to look that up.
Yeah. And I don't think and I'm talking like percentage points, not like it was, 20% in the 70s and it's 80% now. I bet you it's not that much. I don't think so. Cause I let my son walk to school when he was, let's see, his last year of grade school. So sixth, 7th, and 8th, he walked to school. And then in high school, obviously 9th, 10th, 11th, he definitely walked because he could. But my kid's kind of he's kind of bonkers. I always told him like, this is what you do if someone tries to get you. And I think that if someone would have tried to get my kid, they probably would have suffered. Because he was like, I told him to put his thumb in someone's eye and yank their eye out of their head when he was like in 6th grade. I was like, yeah. Or I go lay down on the ground and he's like, really? I go, yeah, you're dead weight. You know how hard it is to pick up dead weight. Seriously, it's almost impossible to pick up dead weight.
When I was raising my daughter, I put her in self-defense classes, so you learn how to protect yourself and you learn what to do, like stuff like that, like to go to the ground is easier, where to hit, how to get the attention away from you, how to be aware before it even gets to that point. I made sure that she did that because I didn't want her to go through any of that.
And it's crazy. Like there's so many things. I get a magazine called Conceal and Carry. It's kind of a, tells stories and
is it a
articles
gun
on
magazine?
It is a gun magazine because you know me.
You and your guns.
I want everyone to be carrying.
You're on a hot one lately because I've heard about guns with you like every time I've talked to you for like the last 4, 5, 6 times. And we don't normally go there. So something's been bugging you that's been going on with all that. All
these people that are just like, again, like we talked about it on the show last week or the week before. Just, no one really understands them. Like, the side who wants to ban everything. It's like, you have no idea. You just think, military looking gun bad, but wooden gun is okay. And I could show you the same gun. They're exactly the same guns. They just look different. And someone would just tell me like, oh yeah, the wooden one's fine. It's like, you're a moron. There's more people killed with hands than there is a rifle every year. Hands and feet. You're either beaten to death, choked to death, kicked to death. More people than are killed with a rifle, which is what an AR-15 is. So statistics don't lie. Like you can't outrun statistics. I also think that people who have never seen a gun or gone to a gun range, it's like, learn about what you're talking about, like before you try to take away the only defense you have, because you're your best defense. It evens the playing field for everyone. If I'm walking to a car and there's 5 people there and they fuck with me, no one's going to fight me one-on-one. So I got to even the playing field. If you're a woman and you're walking to your car and there's a big guy, a gun evens the playing field. So and it's funny too, because I was listening to an interview with a guy and he's talking about like having an AR-15 and he's like, people say there's no reason to have an AR-15 and you shouldn't have 30 rounds and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, look, if I'm fighting for my life, I want the best weapon with the most shit. He goes, I want it to be so one-sided on my side that I win.
Yeah. I don't feel the same way as a lot of people I know about the whole gun issue. I really feel like we as a society in the United States, like our Constitution, what starts our government has put in place for us is that we have the right to protect ourselves from the government, from anything. Like we are allowed to protect ourselves. What if we were still dealing with buffalo roaming? Then would an AR-15 be okay? Like, of
course.
Trust me, when I say that I struggle every day with what the kids in the schools that have been shot at or the people that have gone to the movie theaters and somebody's opened fire, like I struggle every day with knowing that happened. It bothers me. It does. But what bothers me more is that they want to make harder laws so that we can't protect ourselves. And the people that are breaking the law, they don't give a shit anyway. Taking the guns, defunding the police, doing all these things is not the answer.
No,
it's not
for sure.
When the answer starts with start raising your fucking kids to be good people and get them the help they need and start dealing with their mental illnesses. Like, let's be realistic. Every time I see somebody complain about this and that, I'm like, you let your kid watch your freaking telephone for 4 hours and you didn't say shit to him while you were getting your hair done. Maybe you should not get your hair done for 4 hours and spend some quality time with that kid so he doesn't turn out to be that way.
For sure.
But nobody... nobody takes accountability.
Yes. Well, and I think that also starts with us throwing iPads in front of our children to babysit them at a very small age.
Or those phones.
Yeah.
My daughter was on me. She's like, you're a horrible mom. I should have a phone. I'm like, no, you're going to be the one that gets an education because you don't have time for all that. And she's the only kid that grew up around all the kids that she grew up with that got a master's. So touche for not having a damn phone to babysit you.
Sure.
We dealt with you.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot that goes with that. It's like, again, I understand. Like, I hate that the people who are against the gun thing that think that everyone who has guns or likes guns, wants their, I've been called a child, you just want children to die. And I'm like, no, it's quite the opposite. I want them to live. I just think that hardening the schools is better than taking guns out of lawful people's hands. Because you're right. Bad people aren't going to change. Someone's going to go in, they're going to find a way to get a gun and they're going to shoot up another school. It's going to happen, period.
Yeah.
You want to stop it? Put armed guards at schools. And someone was arguing with me. They're like, oh, well, you want to, do you want them to grow up in a prison? Because it's going to feel like a prison. I go, no, you educate them. Guns aren't bad. Stop.
People are bad.
People are bad. And you don't think that they're going to realize that they see all this stuff on TV. They already know people are coming up to shoot their school up. They have drills for it. You don't think walking into a school and having the one armed guard or 4 armed guards on the campus is not going to make someone feel better? It's like, hey, I'm here to protect you. Don't worry about it. Nothing's going to happen to you. That's what you tell the children. They're here to defend you. This is what they're here to do. They're going to make sure none of you get hurt. It's not a hard thing. But I think the problem is that the stigma of guns is they're bad and they kill people. It's like, yes, they're designed to kill people. Of course they are. That's what they were designed for, but they're designed to protect you from any other thing bad happening to you. So I don't know. I think that there has to be better education. I saw a picture from like the 1950s. They used to show elementary school kids how guns worked in class.
Well, with social media now and everything being on the internet, like my niece and nephew could know how to shoot a gun. They could know how it works just by Googling it. Like
YouTube.
we live in a different freaking world. These kids have access to literally everything, and nobody's really policing it. Like, oh, I put all the parental things on it. Like I could show you kids. I could bring them out right now and like put them up here and say, oh yeah, I know how to get through that. That's easy.
Yeah, for sure. Because all they do is YouTube it. They YouTube how to get around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there's a lot to that. I think that again, the current events in this country, we're so divided. This country is super divided to the point where if you fly an American flag, you have a stigma about you. You're a Trump supporter or you're a Republican.
And
truly,
why are we still talking about Trump? He's not even in office anymore. Like,
well, because I think that there's a lot of people who definitely are followers of him because the country was prospering under him before COVID. So I get it. I think that people want morals back, or they want that conservative approach.
They should teach their kids then. How to have
well, I think that the people who want that are. It's the other side that isn't, and it's, and again, I think, and this is my own thing, and I'm sure I'll get shit for it. I think people are soft. This country is soft now. They're,
I think our generation believes that in a huge majority of it does, for sure.
Yeah,
like if you talk to different generations, they don't, though. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're right. I think, our parents' generation are hardened. They were totally different. And I think that's going to end with us. Maybe a small groups of people will be a little bit better. But I saw a meme that was great. It was someone that was, I don't know, they had a rainbow in their Twitter. So I'll let you decide how you want to see that. But it said, we need to put cis white males on a raft and float them into the ocean. First of all, I hate that cis bullshit. Just say straight or say regular, because that's the truth.
What is cis?
That's what they call straight people. It's nonsense. Yeah.
How do you spell
it said that?
Is it SIS?
No, CIS.
Oh, cis. Okay.
So right under it, someone had a picture and it said, we've already done that, and they saved the country. And it was showing people getting off boats in World War II. Look, at the end of the day, this country will be overran. Well, first of all, they want to be ruled. All the people they want the government to do everything for them. I don't want to live I don't want a king. I want, and the funny thing too is like they love to throw the word democracy around. You know that this isn't a democracy. The United States is not. It's a constitutional republic. It's not even a democracy. So when people start saying they're going to ruin our democracy, it's like this isn't a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. So first of all, you're stupid. Let's start with that one. Secondly, if you want to be ruled by the government, there's plenty of other countries on this planet that you can go to. Tons of them.
Yeah.
Canada is changing into a socialist nightmare. Their prime minister just came out the other day and said that in Canada, guns are not to protect yourself. They're for hunting and shooting targets. That's it. He came out yeah. He goes, oh yeah, that's not in our Constitution. That's not what guns are for here. It's like, holy shit. Like, are you guys bananas as fuck? Like, you're crazy. Like, what are we doing? So, I think that the people here, or some people here, love the government to do everything. Because the first thing that they say when shit goes sideways is, what is the government going to do for us? It's like, the federal government was not meant to do that.
Right.
The states were supposed to take care of themselves. The federal government was supposed to fix roads. Now they want them to do everything. It's like, no, we have to go back to, and again, and I live in a state where, or we live in a state where I think it's shitty. This state is going to shit. The homeless people are out of control.
So much money thrown here, there, and everywhere that we should be able to have all of our shit together. Like it's the people that are running our country, our state, we'll just say our state, you know, there's no accountability. There's nobody doing the right thing. I'm sick and tired, and I think I've said this before, of people saying, well, they were the lesser of two evils to vote for. Why are we accepting that? Why is that okay?
That's a good question.
It doesn't make sense if none of them are capable of running the freaking country or running our state. We shouldn't vote for them at all. There should be better people. There and there are. I'm sure there are better people. They're just not getting voted in because it's all about how much money you have to throw at whatever you need to throw it at to get your way. Those people, the good people that are actually doing things the way they're supposed to, they don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad.
I also think that, you know, look, I think that, again, people like people who've been on handouts for so long don't want to go back to work and don't want to do shit. So they keep voting in the people who just give them free money. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's something to that. Look, I'm all up for helping people. I think that there's places for that, but you also have to try to do something. You can't just live off the government teat. It does nothing but make shitty people doing shitty things and making shitty decisions. That's why most conservative people, you know, generally shit on that kind of thing, because they're the ones who get up and go to work every day, and we're the middle class. I think things are definitely changing. I just saw something today. There was a woman in East Texas, South Texas, born in Mexico. She just won. She was a Republican. She just won a Senate seat in Texas. The town that she was in hadn't been won by a Republican in 107 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and she's a woman
and Hispanic.
Oh,
and the city she was in was like 85% Hispanic. So they were talking about like Hispanics are changing. Like they're not just blind Democrats anymore. Like they're also changing. They come here. A lot of people come here and they don't want to, they work for all the shit that they get. They get no handouts and
they ask for little to nothing.
So what they're doing now is they're saying that they're voting against the Democrats because they're like, look, these people are taking what we came here to do and taking it for granted. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I think that it's kind of, you know, going back to guns. I saw something. I never watched The View, if you know what that is, the show.
Yeah,
they're fucking hags, all of them. They are. Well, I was gonna drop the C-bomb, so I was being nice.
Oh, you're doing well then.
Yeah, because most of the women on that show are C-bombs. They're horrible. But this one Joy Behar, I think is her name. They were discussing guns, and it came up, and she goes, you know, when black people start buying guns in this country, I bet you the laws change. And I was like, wow, you racist piece of shit. Like what you're saying is if we arm black people, that the white people are going to make laws to stop them from owning guns, which goes back to this. In the last 2 or 3 years, the highest gun buyers in this country are people of color and women. because
so she didn't even know her shit when she was saying that, and she had to sound racist on top of it.
Yeah. So, to me, open up your mind before your mouth. At the end of the day, it's this. Yeah, look, I want, like, me, I told you off air and on air, I want everyone to own guns. If you're physically allowed, great. But to say that black people aren't getting guns, you're crazy. It's big, and mostly black women. More black women are buying. So it's kind of an interesting thing that where you start seeing the social
changes,
the social world, and how it's definitely changing, on all kinds of different things. And I guess women in general are buying guns because they want to feel safe. It's like, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of an interesting thing when you start going down these current events that we're talking about. It's like gas. The only thing that this presidency can come up with is it's all on Putin. It's all Russia. It's all Russia. It's all Russia. It's like, dude, gas prices were going up since you were in office long before Putin went to the Ukraine. So this has been happening a while. Why is a whole other thing. And I guess OPEC and the oil companies, they made record numbers. So, we got to find out why this is all happening and not get screwed. Because now we're trying to, so we're not producing oil here, or trying to produce less because we want to be green and stop climate change, which is quite humorous, because if we stopped everything tomorrow, it wouldn't matter, because China isn't going to stop doing it. Half these countries in Europe aren't going to do it. But they were discussing fuel prices and drilling and all this kind of stuff. We're trying to buy oil now from Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Mexico, and one other country, when we produce it ourselves. So by not producing it, we're still going to use it because we have to buy it from somebody else to make gasoline out of it and then sell it as gas. So why not? If we're going to buy it, we might as well produce it. It's stupid. It's like, bashing your face with a hammer, and then after every time you hit yourself saying it hurts. Yeah. But you keep doing it. It seems
like the world that we live in now is not conducive to living with I don't know, how would I say that? Like common sense. Like our world is
there is no common sense.
Common sense in our world right now don't exist. And I hear people all the time that feel a way, and they could let me know exactly how they're feeling, why they're feeling. They could come up with a real idea and tell you from point A to point B how they got there, how they chose to think and everything. And I get it, but on the other hand, it's like, but you're not acting with common sense. Like, come on, guys. Like, all of us should be. I don't know what else to say on that. Like, we really need to start looking at things like, does this make sense? There's so many things that don't make sense.
Yes, but I also think that here's the thing about common sense, and I think that it's a two-way street. Because our views in this country are so divided, there is no more common sense either. It's, we were talking off air about, certain things here and there. It's like gender reassignment. Like they don't want 18-year-old kids to buy guns, but they want to let people start transitioning at 5 years old and getting surgery in their teens that ruin you, that literally the drug that they use to start this is what they castrate prisoners with.
When you told me that, I was like, you have got to be kidding. That's what they're using. I never really checked into the whole process, or what happens, or how what the process is to even change your gender. But that, to me, sounded so scary because these kids don't understand the repercussions of what they want to do, and they don't have a guide saying, hey, wait a minute. Like, but really, we've let kids for this last couple generations say and do whatever they want and dictate how we need to treat them, and unfortunately it's going to be to their demise, because
correct,
that's, again, is common sense. Like, we can't make decisions
too much.
And people are so, I'm a victim, come get on my train. Like, I can't take that.
Or now you're so afraid to say anything because you're called out as a bigot. Or,
well, we've talked about that off air. I'm like, are you, you're saying, well, I have a different opinion. I'm like, then let's not talk about it, because I don't want to have to deal with the fallout, because that I run from conversations like that. So
I don't have a problem with it. Like, I'll tell you my opinions on things, which and again might not be popular, but like I have my stance on it, and look. And the other people should have their stance on it, but you got to understand, that this is what I always used to say about gay marriage: whether you're for it or against it is irrelevant. But if you're for it, great. But you got to remember that the people who are throwing rice at the top of the church or wherever you get married, they're going to be throwing rice. There's going to be somebody throwing rocks at the bottom. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't agree with you. And that's on everything. Same with me. Gun control, whatever it is. I'm always going to have somebody.
Opinions about something they shouldn't even have an opinion about. So there's that too.
Well, but I think social media has a lot to do with that as well. Because now everyone has an opinion, and you can say it freely whenever you want.
Yep.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go for it. You were going to say something. I think you were looking at the clock.
I'm looking at the clock going, holy crap, we already got there and we didn't even finish a conversation. So we're going to have to do this again.
This is, we'll probably do current events all the time because, I think those are things that are going to pop up. And you got to remember, some current events will be great. Some current events will be happy. And
can't wait.
And
I can't wait.
Or we'll do one on siblings like we were going to talk about, but have siblings on, and because they're going to make it on time this time.
You mean they're actually going to go and get their shit together so that they could call in and do what they're supposed to do? Love my brother, little fucker.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I get it. And again, I don't understand why people are so afraid to come on this show. I don't think we're horribly bad or confrontational, but hey, we would really like to have you on. So feel free to get a hold of us. And if you know us personally, if there's text messages, we'd like to have you on about anything, feel free. And you can catch us on Spotify and Apple and Amazon and Google and every place that you can find one of these lovely podcasts. It's pretty interesting. Anything else you'd like to say, Tina, since I've taken up everything that you say?
We got 2 new countries. We got Brazil and Nepal.
Brazil. That was a interesting one. Yeah. Yep.
And definitely not somebody that's related to my in-laws, because I checked. So it's legitimately people listening.
And it was weird because it was out during the gun one and they didn't listen to that one. It was a different episode,
interesting.
Which was even more interesting. So they really didn't even listen to the current. It was somebody who looked somewhere else and decided to listen to it. So it's kind of interesting.
Nice.
Good times. But please feel free to get a hold of us. We have a Facebook and an Instagram and a Twitter and all that fun stuff and an email. And it's all findable through your web browsers at Don't Get This Twisted, pretty much on all of them. But yeah, we're going to come up with some more ideas where it doesn't sound like we're just talking about shit like this show, but
we needed
some days
show.
We needed
a shit show.
because sometimes it's just a shit show.
Yes.
So, all right, I'm going to go get back to my puppy and
all right, Colin, you do that
and eat some food. And it's an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Have fun. Feel free to get a hold of us. And as always, Miss Tina, it's always a pleasure to have 49 minutes hanging out with you over the interwebs.
Absolutely.
All right. And on that, for my co-host Tina, I'm Rob, and we will talk to you in a week. See you there,
Bye.
Gene.
Have a good one. See ya.